Has anybody here ever heard of Philipp Lenard? Yeah, it's an amazing, there's a gentleman, extraordinary. Hardly anybody has ever heard of this man, despite the fact that he was the Nobel Prize winner for physics in 1905. He was a man who was an arch experimentalist. He was very famous in his time. He'd won the Nobel Prize for his work with cathode ray tubes. He'd made a modification of the cathode ray tube that perhaps Röntgen had even used, we don't know, but might have used that night, that allowed him to know about the X-rays. But he had some problems, this Lenard fellow. Einstein at one point talks to his student about how twisted Lenard seemed to him. He did have a severe narcissistic personality, but everything started out all right. Einstein was 17 years his junior. They had a very cordial, if very peripatetic, correspondence at one point in time. Einstein had done some work with the photoelectric effect, which Lenard had first described. In fact, Einstein's law of the photoelectric effect is what he was awarded the Nobel Prize for, not for relativity. At any rate, though, that began to degenerate, first because of this student, Jakob Johann Loeb, one of Lenard's students, who initially started out thinking Lenard quite the fellow, just as Einstein did, but over time realized that he had some odd quirks. He was a habitually difficult person who made his students work on things they didn't even believe in, and such was the case with Loeb. And over time, things between Einstein and Lenard disintegrated. At first, it was mainly a scientific difference. As I said, Lenard was an arch experimentalist. Einstein, of course, was the best known ever theoretician, physics theoretician. Lenard came to believe that the whole theoretical physics, mathematically derived formula, was a hoax. That in fact it was a Jewish hoax. It was something that had no grounding in real life, and that perhaps the Jews who were foremost in this field didn't even intend for it to be true, that the whole thing was charlatanry simply to get jobs and to become famous and popular.